Oh boy, how are y'all doing today? I'm doing alright. It's your buddy, 16-Bit Gambit, coming at you with another video. Once again, putting off going back to Godot, because I'm lazy and I procrastinate. So, I started by, just like all the previous ones, going in with that studio pen with a pretty high transparency, and I'm doing the main character as a barbarian. And I realized, the face, it kind of works. It looks different than what I was going for. I did a few like other options, but I'm trying to work on getting a little bit more, feel of movement or action in my drawings. So for this one, I have fun drawing the main character until I get to the face, and I have fun drawing those little, I'm going to start calling them tree imps. I think that's a pretty good name for them. They're going to be smaller than the height of the main characters. They're going to look like little gremlins, things that are up to no good, up to mischief. So I got the main character at this point kind of freaking out while he's fighting a couple of tree imps. So we got one who's over there on the right hand side. He just got caught, probably a little bit less than happy. Showing a little bit more in the way of like tooth shape for that one, as opposed to just making it kind of like continuous bark skin going down the face. This other one, biting the leg, not as happy with that one. But overall, first pass, I think the line work on this one was pretty decent. Once I threw in those colors behind it, I feel like it could look better. I was trying to stick with what you might call grayscale, even if it's over top of red. But ultimately, I felt like finishing at that point, I wasn't going to do a good enough job to really want to share it. So I went and I started over, and historically I draw a lot of skulls. I just think that they look really cool, no more than that. So if I really can't think of anything else to draw, I'll start with kind of skull shapes because I've drawn them enough that they're easy. Maybe I need to go and pick something new to draw. Also, you'll notice that it looks a little bit rougher here, and that's because instead of using the studio pen for this point, I switched over to using, I think, the HB pencil or the 6B pencil that's in Procreate. So, kind of loosened up the rest a little bit, drew some stuff that I was accustomed to drawing, and then I started getting the shape of a tree imp that I was pretty happy with. So I went in, got that kind of evil big mouth sort of look. I got that sort of barky skin that's peeling away on the top. And I always do that branch that's coming out the back of their head with a bit of a twirl. I think that, kind of helps to add a bit more shape. And, as always, if you want something to look like sort of evil, big curly tongue sticking out the front, I think that there's an opportunity to have what looks like roots or vines serve the same purpose as, what a tongue might be. So instead of one big evil flicking tongue, you got a few different roots. Maybe they're prehensile and they can grab stuff, maybe not. So I finished with the 6B pencil, and here it's a sketch. It's kind of rough. So once I got all the stuff lined out, I then flipped back over to the studio pen to get those nice kind of like comic lines to them. And as I'm moving forward here, I'm doing good, solid, clean lines, and then I get a little bit bored and I start trying to use the lines to add some texture. So it's not crosshatch, it's just drawing shapes on top to kind of give you the feel like there's texture on that stuff. Now, I'm not super good at it, but practice makes perfect. So, now I've got good, clean lines. I've got the texture on the bark. I've even got a little bit of texture on all those sort of ginkgo leaves, which I think ginkgo leaves are a pretty cool shape. They're sort of abnormal as far as trees grow or go these days. And then also true to form, I changed what I said. Instead of sticking with the grayscale, I started going with the transparent colors on top of that transparent blue. Now I got myself a good shading layer to kind of show where the light source is coming from. I'm not 100% on it. Like, I'm sure there's some spots where I made mistakes, but overall, I'm pretty happy with it. And I noticed that when Procreate exports a picture, it kind of makes the color more saturated than in the video. But that's it. It's another Tree Imp. I hope y'all are entertained and liked what you saw. Maybe like, share, subscribe, maybe leave a comment. I'll do my best to get back to you. Otherwise, come see us over at 16_bit gambit at Instagram. And I'll see y'all next time. Bye.